we will get started. Please come to sit. So you are either seated in your chair or you're seated on the ground. If you are seated on the ground in sort of the traditional yoga pose with crossed legs, please do sit up on a folded blanket or a block or whatever you have handy, or a towel. If you're in the chair, come to sit back in your chair. So you've got some support. I like to put that blanket on my chair back. Let yourself be supported, but don't let yourself slump. Just because your back is supported doesn't mean this is a time to come into a device or television posture. Sitting up tall, shoulders aligned over hips, whether you're on the ground or in your chair. Let your palms rest comfortably, either facing up or down. Find your physical stillness. Get out any last needs to fidget or adjust so your body can be in balance and stillness for the next few moments. Then turning your attention inward to your breath. Just resting the mind's attention for the next few moments on your own breathing, how it's behaving today. Noticing the rhythm of your inhales and your exhales, and just following that with your mildly curious mind, noticing the rise and fall of the breath. When your mind wanders off, as it almost inevitably will, that's okay. Just notice that your mind has wandered and say, okay, those thoughts, those feelings can wait until later. Bring your mind back to rest on your breath. Please draw your hands now together at your heart center. Gently press your palms together, slide the thumbs a little bit upward, and make sure that your shoulders don't hunch as you do that. So you relax your shoulders while lifting the chest. And I like to begin, as most of you know, by chanting Om 3 times. Feel free to join me aloud. I hope you will, even though I can't hear you, or participate by listening, breathing in. Om. Inhaling, exhaling, replace your hands to your lap. Allow your eyelids to open. If you're in the chair, come forward, away from your chair back. And I guess what I didn't say anything about at the beginning was that this is gentle flow yoga, which is going to be very similar to Yoga for Healthy Aging for those of you who have been in that series. And it's all about connecting breath and movement. Basically, when we come to stand, it'll be about a little bit more about connecting the postures with breath. So welcome, and here we go. Sitting up nice and tall, either on the ground or in your chair. And just be in your upright posture. This is either easy pose, it's called, on the floor with legs crossed. Here we are in easy pose, legs crossed at mid-shin, or I'm calling this seated mountain in the chair, knees directly over ankles. And importantly, again, those shoulders are aligning over the hips, ears are over the shoulders. Just for a moment, misalign the ears, bring your chin forward so you're jutting, and then realign ears back over shoulders. Just feel that a few times. Jutting forward, maybe even going into an extreme, bringing your chin, tuck it in, and then jut it forward, tuck it in, come to something a little more natural. And put your hand back behind you. Feel that soft curve in the back of the neck. Before class today, Jeff asked me a question about spinal alignment. And this is one of the things that we're looking for, a soft curve in the neck. Feel that? We'll work with that a little bit later in the class as well. And from your seated mountain, extend your legs long, or from your easy pose if you're on the ground, and flex your feet. So you can see my toes. Toes are up towards the sky, even a little bit back towards your body. Bring your arms forward, interlace your hands, and the backs of your hands are forward initially. Find that interlace, squeeze the fingers together, and just lift your arms so they frame your ears more or less, and release. Bring the arms halfway down, just coordinating with breath. Inhaling, exhaling. If you're a person who has tightness in the backs of the legs, feel free to bend the knees a little bit. And come on back to that forward position now. Flip the position of the hands so the palms are forward. Press out well through your wrist so the palms are more or less flat. And we'll do the same thing. And let's all bend the knees as we lift the arms. And straighten the legs, release the arms forward. Bend the knees, lift, and straighten the legs. One more time, lift. Now keep the lift, extend the legs long, breathe. Undo your interlace. And just adjust your feet so you're back to a standard mountain, knees bent. And let's come into a twist. Twisting the torso towards the right. Back up to center. Twisting towards the left. Back up to center. And back and forth with your breath, not my breath. Mine is probably a little faster than yours because I'm talking. Inhaling as you reach up and exhaling as you come to the twist. The next time you come to the first side, that's twisting towards your right, pause. And inhaling, lift. Let's take that pause, of course, on the other side. Shoulders are more or less in balance. We don't want one to be higher than the other. And you can feel them moving back so you're not rounding your shoulders in your twist. Head is in the same direction, of course, as the twist. But try not to overreach with the head and neck. Inhaling, come on back up. Exhaling, release your arms alongside your body. We'll come to stand. So move your feet a little bit closer to the chair if you're in the chair. If you're on the ground, just come on up any way that you can. And hinging forward, Breathing in. And as you breathe out, reach the arms forward, come all the way up to stand. Here you are in standing mountain. Arms overhead pose, all 10 toes directly forward so you're not turned out. Arms reaching. Release the arms down alongside the body. Take mountain pose for a few breaths. In mountain pose, our feet are hips distance apart. Our arms are long without being rigid. And importantly, well, we've got that soft curve in the back of the neck. You can bring your hand up there and see if you can find it. And you can think about your sacrum and the back of the skull being in one plane. A few breaths here. And releasing from mountain pose. We're going to, I'm going to, we typically do a half sun salutation that many of you are familiar with. I'm just doing it quickly here. I've done this many times in class. We're going to do that. We'll do it together in a moment, and then we'll be adding on so that our warm-up each week will be more of a full sun salutation. But let's all start with standing pose right behind a chair. You don't need the chair for balance, that's fine, don't use it. Bring hands together at heart center. Inhaling, lift. And exhaling, find chair pose, sitting back in a chair. You can bring your hands to your thighs or the chair. And then lengthening legs, lengthening spine, wherever that is for you. Bending the knees again, bringing arms out in a rotated position, thumbs back. Inhaling, lift up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. We'll do that again. I'll give you an option to go a little bit more deeply into the forward fold if you would like. Here's chair pose, hips back, heart reaching up, not down. And here's a forward fold for some of you, especially if you have those back issues we've talked about. Here's a slightly deeper forward fold for others, or perhaps it's here for you. Breathe. A few moments in your forward fold. Now coming back to chair pose, we segue through chair pose, arms rotate, inhale, lift. Exhale, release, hands to the heart. Pause. I love having my hands at my heart center. After movement, can really feel that beating of the heart. Notice that. And from your standing mountain, we're going to bring one foot forward and the other foot back, coming into a lunge position, bending the forward knee. Back heel can be a little bit lifted, or if you want more stability, it can be on the ground. And we're just going to lift one arm, tilt it forward, find sort of a diagonal line from your heel to your fingers. Come back to upright, release that arm. Other arm lifts. Find that diagonal line. Come back to upright and release. We're going to do that on the other side. Bring the back foot forward, front foot back. Find your lunge, knee over ankle. And if you don't need the chair, don't use the chair. Inhaling, lift one arm. Find your diagonal. Come on back up. And exhale, release. Inhaling, other arm. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, release the arm. Now, everyone, please take your chair dog, step both feet back. Legs are long, and let's bend them. Spine long. And coming into a little more length, maybe not all the way to long legs. And bending. Arms are lengthened here, so we're not collapsing in the wrists. A few more bends and straightens with your breath. And then stepping forward, finding chair pose one more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to combine that with our half sun salutation. So we're going to have our full sun salutation. And some of you are going to stay with your back of your chair facing you, and others of you may have the seat of the chair facing you. So for the seat of the chair facing you, it'll just be a little bit deeper. So you choose. Taller people especially might want to stay facing the back of the chair. Bringing hands to the heart. Inhale, lift. Exhale, find your chair pose. Lengthen here. Bending the knees, here comes the lunge. Step your left foot back. And we're going to take a balance here. High lunge position, arms framing ears, pause. And release. Let's do it on the other side. If balance is an issue for you, I would definitely recommend doing this whole sequence behind the chair so you can hold the chair back. And release both arms to the chair back or to the chair seat. And step yourself back for your dog. Chair dog. I'm just going to take a quick look, see if I can see what people are doing. Just be in your chair dog, breathe. Nice. Oh, this is lovely. I can see some of you. And bending your knees. Step yourself forward, come on back to chair pose, lift that heart. And inhale, lift the arms, hands to the heart. We'll do it one more time. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, bend knees. Lengthen legs, lengthen spine, any height that's right for you. And bending the knees again, stepping left. Let's step the right foot back this time. And this might be your upright lunge, holding on, or lift the arms. Exhale, release. Let's switch it up. Exhale, release. Step both feet back to your dog pose. And we're adding one more element, and that's plank pose, coming forward to a plank. It's just like tilting mountain pose on its side. Breathe. If your wrists don't like that, you can be up on your fists. You could also be down on your forearms to sort of preserve any quirks in the wrists, or avoid them rather. And then coming back to dog. Bend the knees, step one foot and then the other forward. Let's hold chair pose for a few breaths. So here we are, knees bent, weight back in the heels. So we don't want to be too far forward. Weight back in the heels, hands to the heart. Here's that little reminder to lift the heart. And from here, coming all the way up, inhale. And exhale, arms alongside the body. Mountain pose. And we're going to move into another standing sequence. So again, use the chair or not. You may not need it. It might be nice to have it there in case. And we're separating our feet. That's left toes directly towards the short end of the mat, and the other heel kicks back a little bit. Your hips are more or less towards the long end of the mat. You might be a little bit turned. Bring your arms out into a T position. We're working with straight legs here into triangle pose. It's a little flow because this is gentle flow yoga. So reach your fingertips out towards the wall to your left side. Find that length and then release the arm, lift the opposite arm. You could have your hand on the chair, that's why it's there. And come on back up to the T position and release the arms down alongside the body. Those are the basic positions of this little triangle flow. So let's do it all together if you weren't with me then. Lifting the arms, inhale, exhale, reach, and lift into triangle. Come on back up. Release the arms. We'll do it 2 or 3 more times. I'll talk you through it 2 more times and then you'll do it on your own. Lifting, reaching, finding triangle, coming back up and releasing your arms. 1 more time with my voice, lifting, inhale, exhaling, reach, inhaling now, exhale, release arms. Let's do it 1 more time without my voice. Your way, your breath, your pace. Pausing for a moment. We're going to take that into a bent knee version of triangle. So bending your knee, bringing your, let's come into that reach position first, and then release to your thigh or to the chair, and arm directly up overhead. So sometimes we come here for side angle. Today, the arm is up towards the sky. You could also release fingertips to shoulder if you feel like you need more ease in your upper body. Breathe. Some people like to look down at their front foot. That can give your neck an interesting stretch. I'm going to ask you to avoid looking up, just for a little more safety on the neck. Come on back up through warrior 2, straighten the leg, release the arms down, all 10 toes forward, pause, and come to the other side. So bringing now your opposite foot forward. You don't have to, you know this, you can just stay in the same position. I'm switching so you can see me. Legs are straight. We're working through I'm just moving my chair. I'm working through our triangle flow. Straight legs, hips more or less towards the long end of the mat. Arms in a T. Reach. From that reach, release into triangle. Come on back up. And release arms. Let's do it a few more times together. Inhaling, exhaling, exhaling, inhaling into your triangle, exhaling back up, release arms. Inhaling, exhaling, reach. Inhaling, exhaling, release. On your own, without my voice, always good to do it on your own. And we'll take our bent knee variation, so bending in to your right foot, right knee rather, and coming over to rest your forearm on your chair, or you can bring it to your thigh, and arm up, bent knee version of triangle. Arm can relax anywhere it feels best. Feel free to look down at your front foot. And coming all the way back up through warrior two. Release. Turn all 10 toes forward, and you can either step or heel toe back to mountain pose. Finding your mountain pose. Nice, strong, but pliant, upright position. In other words, not getting rigid. We're going to use that sense of pliancy, or that there's got to be a little bit of give as we stand and do our balance poses. We're going to use that as we practice tree pose together. So please stand up nice and tall, find mountain pose. For this one, you might want to have a piece of furniture because you'll get a little unsteady. Let's find our foundational tree. In foundational tree, the knee comes out to the side, the heel is at the ankle, hands are at the heart. Notice if you're sinking a little bit into that inside hip, it happens a lot. See if you can draw that hip in and up. It's easy to feel that when we're in our foundational tree. Breathe. And here's our little pliancy variation. We're going to bring the arms up overhead, elbows can be out to the side, and you can hold the chair if you'd like. And just a little tilt over to one side, and then over to the other. My teacher calls this cypress tree. He came up with it after watching cypress trees on the West Coast blowing in the wind. So here we are in cypress tree. And we're being flexible but strong. Come back to upright. Exhaling, hands to the heart. And release the foot, release the arms. You can either stay with foundational cypress tree, or maybe you're up for a little bit more of a balance challenge today. Sole of the foot can come to the calf, hand or hands to the heart, and arms overhead. Can you bring a little cypress tree flow into your lifted position? It's challenging. Feel free anytime to bring the foot back down to the earth. Experiment. Your body learns to adjust, so little imperfections are okay. How the body learns. Nice. And coming back to your upright tree, you can smile, it's okay. It was challenging. Standing in mountain, come to the other side of your support, please. And we'll take foundational tree first. Opposite knee turns out, hands to the heart center. Notice if you're sinking into that hip. Draw it in and up. Breathe. And maybe you're lifting the arms, elbows are bent. Little sway side to side. This could be done with hands at the heart as well if your shoulders don't want to lift into the extended position. Come back to upright. Release the hands to the heart. Mountain pose, variation with hands at the heart. Second side, weight shifts a little bit to that inside leg. And lift if you're choosing to lift. You may not be today. Hands can come overhead. Ooh, little cypress tree sway. It's not serious. You can move in and out of it. Smile as you play with your cypress tree. Coming back to upright and releasing. Hands come to the heart center. Foot comes to the floor. Find your mountain pose again. Breathe well. What's happened to that gentle curve in the back of the neck? Is it still there? Maybe you're finding it more easily as the body warms up and finds a more natural alignment. Maybe not. Turning, we are going to come down to hands and knees. So if you're not a kneeler, you know the variation. And to get ourselves down to hands and knees for those who are coming there, I like to do it with a flow, lifting, bending, coming into chair pose. You can take your blanket, make sure your knees are padded, and bring one knee down, the other knee down. Here you are on your knees, safely padded. And we're going to, let's bring one foot forward. Bring your right foot forward so you're in a lunge position. Knee is over ankle. And the torso is upright. This is very much like what we did when we were doing our standing lunges. Inhaling, lift the outside arm. Legs don't really move. We're hinging from the hips, finding the diagonal reach and coming back up. Exhale, release that arm. Opposite arm lifts. Hinging, finding the long reach. Coming back up to upright. Exhaling, bring that arm down. Now, a little change, nudging the chair forward if you've got one, so that your knee is now forward of the ankle and you've got more length in that back thigh, getting a nice stretch there. Torso is upright. You can remain here, or if it feels okay, lifting both arms or one. Really experiencing that stretch in the back thigh. Think about hips forward. Your knee might be nudging your chair to find that. Exhale, release. Bring yourself back, both knees on the earth or both feet on the ground if you're standing. Finding kneeling or standing mountain. Other side. Bring your opposite foot forward. And we're starting with the knee right over the ankle. Lifting one arm. Exhaling, hinging, coming forward with a long spine. Come back up. Exhale, release the arm. Remember, the breath is the most important thing. Inhale, lift. Hinge as you exhale. Inhaling up. Exhaling, hand to the chair. Now we're nudging that knee into the chair, sliding the hips forward, getting more length in the back thigh. And this could be done standing as well. And wherever you are lifting, it's actually a little more challenging from a standing position. So feel free to rest the arms. And everyone, if you would please, coming back to stand on your knees or on your feet. Take a moment to bring your hands back behind you. If it's available to you, you can take hold of opposite elbows. If that's not happening for you, you can take your wrists anywhere on the forearms. And this is just helping us remember to keep those shoulders back, feeling nice breath across the collarbones. Breathe. Release. And you probably have a way that you automatically reverse your cross in a way that feels a little less natural, and pause here. Good for the brain to do the opposite. Releasing arms alongside body. We're going to come down to hands and knees. So we're going to move in and out of a floor version of dog pose. And remember, you can do this from standing. So make sure you have enough space for your version of table pose. Initially, hands are under shoulders, fingers are spread nice and wide, and your toes are tucked. Or you're standing up and your heels are well planted. Everyone, take yourself into cow pose. Belly drops a little bit towards the floor. Sits bones lift, chin lifts a tiny bit. Engage abdominals, come back to neutral. Let's do that 2 or 3 more times. Inhaling, lift sits bones, lift chin. Feel that nice sinking between the shoulder blades. And come back to neutral. For people without the back issues that I always talk about, feel free now on the exhale to round. Back people stay in neutral, please. Janet, what that means, since I know you're new to class, is anybody with osteoporosis, disc injuries, we don't want people with those conditions to come into rounding. With your breath, a few more times. And coming to neutral. And just take a look. I think most of you know this, but I'll do it quickly. We're going to be moving from cow pose, that's the arched position, and we'll draw the belly back towards the spine, lift the knees, hips back, come into downward dog with knees bent. We'll bring the knees down, we'll arc the spine. We won't go this fast, but we'll do that a few times. And if you're at the chair, standing, it could be here, and then you need to stand back a little bit more here, and back into dog. Here and back into dog. Okay, so choose your variation. I will continue to work on the floor with the floor people. Tucking toes. Find your arch spine cow pose. Exhaling. Lift knees, stretch hips back, knees bent. Inhaling, come on, land softly, careful of your knees. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling. Take a break at any time. And this last time will be a brief hold in your dog. Feel free to lengthen the legs if that feels pleasant in your body today. Stretching heels down towards the earth. They may or may not touch, really doesn't matter at all. It's more about the idea of the hips lifting and keep them stretching back. Chest away from thighs. Please, if you haven't already, do come on down to hands and knees again. You all know that at any point, if I don't signal it, if your body is asking for it, you come on down before I say it. Okay, nice. And from here, I think we will segue down onto our backs for people who are coming to their backs. Oh, let's do one more thing from seated first. So, seated could be either in the chair, which I'll demonstrate very quickly, or down on the floor on your folded blanket. So if you're in the chair, you'll just be sitting up like this. And we'll do some variations with one knee bent, the other knee bent. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. We'll go wide. We'll go back and forth. So that's what you're doing if you're staying in the chair. If you're on the floor, sitting up on some height, please. Really much better for the hips, healthier for the legs too. Come to sit, and let's start in staff pose, Dandasana, the way we were at the very beginning of class. Legs are long, toes are up towards the sky, heels are pressing. And again, if you're somebody with tight legs, tight hamstrings, a little bend is just perfect. Or keep the legs lengthened. Breathe. And I'm going just a little bit wider than hips distance here. We're going to rotate the feet inward and then outward, inward, and outward. Try not to actually lean back to support yourself. What we want is that upright spine, shoulders in line with hips, and rotating the legs. Nice and easy a few times. You can do this from the seated position in the chair, absolutely. And then let your legs relax. Just let them kind of wobble back and forth a little bit. And then we are going to separate the feet into the V position. So that looks like this. Here's your V position. Your V position might be here. Your V position might have a little bend in the knees. Toes up towards the sky, heels pressing again. Torso upright, shoulders over hips, trying not to lean back. If you find that you want to lean back for support, just bring your legs in a little closer. Maybe not quite so much stretch. I like to roll onto one sits bone and release the buttock flesh from underneath. You can do that as well. Sitting up nice and tall. Both feet are flexed. Little support with your hands if you'd like it, or you can rest them in your thighs. Bending one knee and then the other. Keeping both feet flexed through this. We'll change it up in a moment. Both legs long. Now point your left toes, bend the opposite leg with a flex. Point the right toes, flex the left. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. And just a few more times on your own. Might take a little while to get this coordination. And you might want to start to move a little bit more quickly or slow it down. And now pointing both toes. We usually work with a flex, but today we're pointing both toes. Sitting up nice and tall, breathe. Tiny forward fold. Not so much that you're rounding. Coming forward with a long spine. People in the chair, you can hold on to the backs of your chair. That could be helpful. Your forward fold might be upright. That happens sometimes for people who feel that they need to round. So just stay upright. Breathe. And relax. Nice. Just let your legs wobble back and forth a little bit. You might be feeling some very interesting sensations in the leg muscles and the hips. Now we will come down onto our backs, but take a look first. I'm not coming down to my back today. This is what chair people will be doing, and this, imagine I'm on my back. So the first thing I wanted to address, because Jeff asked the question earlier in the class, is what happens when you are on your back? How do you align your spine? Well, it's just like being in mountain pose on the ground. And you might find that as your head touches the ground, your chin is lifting a lot. And if you put your hand back there, you feel a really deep curve in the back of the neck, which is unnatural. If that happens for you, and as I mentioned to Jeff, it happens with guys a lot because of the bulk in the shoulders, not a bad thing, it's just what is. You can take a folded blanket and put that behind your head. And then check out what's going on in the back of your neck. There should just be that gentle little curve. Maybe now there's less of a chin lifting. Okay, so that's for people on the ground. For people in the chair, you've got the support of your chair back, you're tilting back. And everyone, let's do this together. This is very simple. So I'm assuming everyone on the ground is pretty much settled. Let's see if I can see anyone. Just take your time getting down there. Bending your knees, everyone. And just picking up your right foot, interlacing behind the thigh, drawing thigh in towards chest. Extending leg long, sole towards sky. Thigh towards chest as you exhale. You're holding behind your thigh. And lengthening that leg. Just do that a few times. Should be very familiar at this point for most of us. The next time you bend your knee, place your hand on your kneecap, your right hand on your right kneecap, and we're just going to bring that knee out to the side and back to center. The knee is bent. Opposite arm can be in a T position, or you can hold the chair. You're rotating right into the hip socket. And the next time the knee comes out to the side, everyone, give yourself a little support under the thigh and lengthen your leg out to the side. And bend, knee stays out to the side. We're working to the side. Lengthen and bend. Lengthening and bending. Now the knee comes back to center. Release. Everyone bring the foot back down to the earth, second side. After you've wiggled yourself out enough to adjust, find balance. Now second side, lifting the left foot, bending knee, drawing thigh towards chest. Inhaling, get longer. Bending and lengthening. This is all happening from a directly upright or forward position. We're not out to the side yet. Thigh towards chest, lengthening. And next time you draw in, pause for a moment, place left hand on left knee, and just let that bent knee come out to the side, back to center. Your opposite arm can be in a T if that feels appropriate in your practice. The next time the knee comes out to the side, give yourself a little support behind the thigh and lengthen the leg out to the side and bend any height, of course. Could even be on the floor here. Do what's right for yourself. Bending and lengthening. And the next time you bend, draw the knee back to a centered position. Everyone releasing both feet to the floor. Give yourself a nice long stretch, arms back, legs reaching. And exhale, arms back down alongside the body. And one more time, give yourself a nice long stretch. And release. We're going to do one more variation. For this one, I recommend people in the chairs come to upright rather than leaning back. People on the floor are going to pick both feet up, draw thighs in towards chest, and come into your L shape, lifting the soles of both feet towards the sky. People in the chairs, just follow me visually. From your L shape, hands behind the thighs, go wide into a V shape. Exhaling, come on back to your L shape, like a capital L. And going wide into the V shape. Coming back together to legs zipping towards each other, L shape. Go wide one more time. And zip those legs together. Bend the knees. Everyone, people in the chairs, you can fold forward here. People on the floor, draw your thighs in towards your chest. And it might feel nice to do some knee circles. Especially if you're on your back. If you're seated, you can sway those knees back and forth. And gradually bringing your way back to stillness. Replacing the soles of the feet to the floor. Find your relaxation pose. Legs are long in relaxation pose. Yes. Let your legs relax. Some of you will put a rolled blanket under your knees. I can't really tell if anyone is seated because your cameras aren't on all of you, but if you are seated, you're sitting back in your chair. And for relaxation, drawing your attention inward to your breath again. Noticing that pattern of the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. We're going to add a little breath pattern. This is not for everyone because it involves a breath hold. So if you have any breathing difficulties with asthma, COPD, anything like that, don't use the hold that I'm going to suggest. You'll just inhale and exhale. People without those conditions, brief pause at the base of the exhale. 1 second, only inhaling, exhaling at the same rhythm. Brief pause at the end of the exhale. Inhale, exhale, pause. Inhale, exhale, pause. Inhale, exhale, brief hold. That's only 1 second. Feel free at any time to work without the pause. A few more times on your own without my voice. Now releasing the control and the guidance, letting your breath return to a natural rhythm, which you might find is a little bit slower after that breathing exercise. Let your body be completely relaxed. Your head may or may not be supported by a layer of blanket or towel. Center of the back of the head resting securely into the earth or your supports. Body relaxed. Breath natural. Mind quietly focused on your breath. Please allow your breathing to deepen now. Bring a little movement into your wrists, your fingers, your ankles and your toes. It might feel good to move your head back and forth a little bit. Bending your knees if you're on the floor, rolling over onto your side. Chair people coming back to seated mountain. In your own time, in your own way. If you're on the floor, bringing yourself back up to upright, moving gradually. Everyone finding their upright position. Hands come again to the heart center, pressing palms, sliding thumbs a little bit upward. And we'll close with one Om together, breathing in. Now the exhalation. Om. One more nice, full, expansive inhalation. Exhaling. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for Gentle Flow Yoga. No class next week, so no class next Friday. It is the day after Thanksgiving. I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, but more than happy, let it be safe. Safe is more important than happy right now.
Can I talk to you afterwards?
I'm sorry, Janet?